It's time now for the 360 round. For that, let's bring in our panel to discuss some of the chip stocks and the recent performance we've seen in the semiconductor space. Joining us to have this conversation today, Kim Forrest, the founder and chief investment officer at Boca Capital Partners. And also joining us today, Alexis Browne Roberts, the COO portfolio manager at Alexis Investment Partners. Thank you both for being with us today. You know, of course, on the heels of Taiwan Semi's earnings, Kim, I'd like to start with you and just get some of your takeaways.
Sure. Well, I think what is the biggest fear in this market is that the AI trade is going to crack. And Taiwan Semi put a hard stop on that is not what is happening. And I think that really served to reinvigorate the tech stocks, a lot of them, and specifically the semis. Now, in the prior piece, you were talking about Micron, and Micron has taken off. I think it is for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I think Nvidia is, now getting some competition from AMD and getting the love. AMD is getting some love from longer-term contracts with OpenAI. And then, so we have people looking for where can gains come from if it's not Nvidia. And I think both AMD and Micron might be that answer right now.
And Alexis, coming over to you, you've held semis in your portfolio, as a core position for a long time. With the earnings and the headlines that we're getting, do you still have confidence that AI and automation still has a long runway, even with this rally to the upside that we've seen?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me on, Marley. And I think that there definitely is still room to run within the AI trade, and particularly within semiconductors. As Kim said, there's a lot of strong demand globally for semiconductors, and it's only going to continue as the AI race is fueled and we continue to see AI and automation build out progress. That demand's going to keep supporting it. Now, have we come a far way, especially off of the April lows? Absolutely, but this has been a long-term trend. As you pointed out, semiconductors have been a strong part of our portfolio for the majority of the past several years, and we tend to buy SMH on periodic pullbacks, as well as trend them as we did coming off of that strong rebound off the April lows. And we may look to potentially sell some cover calls on our Nvidia position from here, but we still are strong believers in these names. And even with that, semis continue to hold a large part of our tech and equity exposure.
And Kim, coming back to you, I was going through your notes and you say that OpenAI should be renamed to Open Wallet, which did give me a chuckle. Do you think the current pace of this investment is sustainable, or are we overspending in a race for scale right now?
Well, here's the funny thing. It's an open wallet, but the cash isn't coming out. A lot of these are contracts for the future, which I think is smart in many ways, that OpenAI is trying to get these relationships in place. I was a software developer in AI before I became a stock picker in 1999 covering software stocks. So I look at what OpenAI is doing, and I have to tell you, I think their current trend of more data, more processing will fix the models is incorrect. But they are going down that pathway, and all the investors, I don't know what they're thinking, but I think it's fear of missing out driving most of this, buying into what OpenAI has relationships with. But I would have a cautious note on that we don't know that this money actually is going to be spent, and where it's coming from is a real question mark as well.
And Alexis, coming to you, off of that comment here, and it's certainly not the first time I've heard that sentiment about the wallet is open, but the money isn't coming out. How realistic is the speed that's been promised in this AI revolution? Can we really execute a lot of these promises that are being made?
Well, I don't have the background of the software developing side, so I'm honestly not sure if we're going to be able to see the promises met exactly as these developers have said. But I think that you'd be hard pressed to bet against them at this point in time. Look at how far things have come just since that 90s boom. And I really do think that with the amount of money being put behind, with a lot of it being deep pockets and smart money off of technology. Clearly, there is a lot of innovation there, and we've already seen a lot of build out. I mean, look at how much ChatGPT is used all the time now, how much more there's autonomous driving coming out. It feels like in the past several years, there's been a big boom in that technology. And I think we're also seeing it more importantly in a broader AI productivity. Look at Caterpillar, Home Depot, earnings where you wouldn't necessarily think about it being related to AI. Those are really the companies that are benefiting. And I think that's why there's such a big push behind this, is the idea that productivity is going to be able to boost the economy as a whole. And that's where a lot of this demand is being driven from.
Well, certainly in the midst of a fourth industrial revolution here, we appreciate you both being with us to talk semis and the AI trade. Kim Forrest from Boca Capital Partners and Alexis Browne Roberts from Alexis Investment Partners.